Hi everyone, Friday, November 4th. Welcome to Three Things with Spyglass Lending, where we go a little bit deeper, right? We uncover what's really going on out there in the investment and mortgage space. And I mentioned the word investment specifically because, again, Spyglass Lending started as a company that just funded real estate investors. We expanded to fund everybody in the state of California, but real estate investors is still our bread and butter, still our core competency. And today's Three Things, we're going to start with that. And we're going to start with Athas Capital, a name you may never have heard, but I'll tell you this, they are one of the largest non-QM lenders in the space. Well, they were one of the largest non-QM lenders of the space, shuttered effective immediately. Non-QM, just to reiterate and to talk about what that is again, a little bit different than qualified mortgages, a standard buyer or somebody who owns a property refinancing. The non-QM market, you're looking at someone who needs to go bank statements, they're self-employed, they're doing a DSCR product, they're a real estate investor using a DSCR product, they might have an ITIN instead of a social security number. There's a few different reasons why somebody goes to a non-QM lender. Again, Athas Capital, one of the largest in the space, gone. Well, why? Did they just run out of money? Sort of. They've been funded really by about a dozen banks since 2008 when they opened their doors, but they never had private capital behind them. They didn't have actual investors doing that, so they were really selling their paper. They were using warehouse lines and all of that. Dried up, right? It just became cost prohibitive to do business. Well, they shuttered their doors effective immediately. I think to the surprise of a lot of people who worked for them or who were sending deals to them. But they have done billions in dollars of transactions since 2008, and they are gone. And that's something to really consider. RE investor liquidity. I think that brings us to point number 2. What's going on out there? If a place like Athas Capital is gone, what's going on with real estate investor liquidity? And I'm not just talking about flippers. I'm not just talking about individuals working in the residential space, but the liquidity has really started to show some cracks for people who own small balance multifamily and specifically commercial property. There has been a massive uptick. When I talk to my private beneficiaries, that's small family offices, individuals who fund real estate investors, and a lot of funds as well, even some of the DSCR funds like in Athas Capital, they are saying, and not always in California, but they're saying there's a pretty big uptick recently about people needing to pull cash out. Number one reason, well, they're in a cash crunch themselves. They're investors who maybe suffered a little bit this year, or what happened through the pandemic has finally caught up to them on some of their own business transactions, or they're interested in taking cash out now with what's coming down the pipe. And we're going to talk about that. That's number 3. Deals, 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 right? That's the big question in everybody's mind. Are there deals coming? Well, guess what? The deals are already here. Everyone I talk to in the space doing investing, those who are flipping, unfortunately, those who may have started doing something in the last 6 months or are trying the disposition right now may have gotten caught behind enemy lines a little bit. But those who are buying right now or have in the last 6 weeks, yeah, they're coming across deals. Have they been amazing? Not necessarily, although some of them are because they're very good investors. But what's coming down the pike? Are there deals coming? You bet there are. And I think a lot of real estate investors are expecting that, all the way from the residential up to the commercial space. And we'll see what happens. But by March or mid-time next year, there could be a lot of them on the docket. Thank you for joining me. This has been 3 Things with Spyglass Lending.